Hey guys, it's Tarot and Beyond. In today's reading inspired by a viewer, we are looking at what karma you have cleared in past lives. I thought this was a really cool question and one that I've never seen anybody else talk about, and I've never even really thought about personally either. I've seen a lot of karma that has been cleared in present lives, working with clients and through my own experience, but I've never really asked, what karma have I cleared or has someone else cleared in the past, in their past lives? So that's what we're going to be looking at today. Like, what problems did you solve before you even came here? What are you not aware of in terms of what you've learned? Now, you know this unconsciously, but let's bring it to your awareness. Let's look at some of those patterns that you may have conquered and why you were able to master that and not carry that forward into this life. So we've got 3 groups to choose from. I actually have preset piles set up as well, and these are the significator cards. So we have group number 1 with Vulva, the prophecy, guidance, and direction card, number 33. This is from the Fairy Forest Oracle. Thank you so much to the subscriber who sent this in to us as a donation. And group number 2, we have the Green Man, Initiative, Fertilization, and Action. And group number 3, we have Shapeshifter, Transformation, Primal Wisdom, and Instinct. So if you feel called to more than one, that's fine. That may just mean that you have multiple different lifetimes or different karmic patterns that you cleared within those lifetimes. Use your intuition to take the messages from each reading that feels like it is for you, or if you feel called to one, that's fine too. These are general readings. Take what resonates, leave the rest. We'll see you there. All right, hi, group number 1. Welcome to your reading. You chose Vulva, number 33, and it says prophecy, guidance, and direction. Okay, so I'm actually noticing something in the hair. The hair is connected to the lineage. The hair is connected to the ancestry and the DNA. So there was something in your DNA that you managed to clear in a previous lifetime related to prophecy, giving guidance, and having an intuitive sense of direction. So you may have struggled in this past life that we're referring to here with trusting yourself, with knowing which path to take, or there was some wounding is kind of what I'm getting around being able to trust your intuition and to follow it. So some of your ancestors may have been persecuted for having this gift of prophecy or having a highly expanded sense of awareness. So being like hypersensitive, being intuitive, being empathic, being psychic, prophetic as well, right? So there's something about that I'm seeing, and you were able to overcome this somehow, and we're hopefully going to get more information on that. So walk your truth. Wow. Yeah. Okay. So you were able to walk your truth in this lifetime, and that is what helped to clear this karma. So we were dealing with some ancestral lineage stuff, and it helped to choose to follow your own path is what they're telling me. That's what I'm getting from Spirit, is that it was like you were the cycle breaker in that lifetime. I know we talk about cycle breakers in this lifetime a lot. You know, being the cycle breaker in this lifetime means breaking away from family traditions, or even sometimes breaking away or being estranged from family entirely because it's no longer aligned with you, or you don't want to repeat those patterns. But that's kind of what I'm seeing in this previous lifetime. That's exactly what you did. You either moved away from those people physically and started your life in a new location. I'm getting travel, new direction that you took. But I'm also seeing the leaves in her hair. It's like you changed the season. You know, you were like, I feel this change. I feel called in this direction. I'm not going to let what my ancestors would have done, or my parents or my family, dictate what it is that is true for me. And by walking in that truth, by walking the talk, you were able to break out of that genetic. I just got the word genetic programming. Wow. Genetic programming. Okay. Holy crap, you have the Thief card. Light attribute is sheds light on the potential wealth within you that can never be stolen, but the shadow attribute is stealing money, creative ideas, affection, or other powers you think you lack. Well, truth and thievery are like two opposites, right? These are different polarities that we're talking about here. So it feels like you had to contend with some kind of thievery. You had to contend with, I just got a message of your guidance being stolen. What would that mean? I think it means that when you were in this past karmic pattern, you had this insight, right? Like you knew things that other people didn't know. And you had to trust yourself to be able to walk in that truth. And it was very hard to do because the karmic pattern around this was a lot of self-doubt, a lot of you fearing bearing your heart. You know, you were like keeping it undercover, like this heart in his jacket. He's like not going to promote that openly. He's very sort of secretive about it, is kind of what I'm getting. And I think that there was patterns of people wanting to steal the guidance that you received or the prophecies that you brought through, or wanting to steal. I just got your wealth, like, but not physical wealth. It's like your intuitive wealth or your spiritual wealth. People were trying to steal that, and that was part of the genetic programming, is what they're showing me and telling me. It's like it was part of the genetic karma that you were dealing with. Huh. Yeah, stealing your powers is what they're showing. Yeah, stealing your other powers. What? Okay, let me just see. Biblical in reverse. Okay, so this could have been during biblical times, which was when prophecy was so huge. Wow. So you were a prophet, and you came from a line of people in your specific genetic lineage in that lifetime who wanted to, I'm getting like they wanted to profit off of your prophecy. Like they wanted to profit off the prophet. Isn't that ironic? And I'm seeing that to break this karma, you had to go out and do things your own way. Like you had to basically go it on your own. They're showing me a bird flying out of a cage, flying free. And that symbolizes breaking free from that cage of limitation or that programming. It also, I'm seeing him building here, like the way that he's carving or he's making something. It's like you had to put in the hard work to do this yourself. That was what broke the karma. So because all that karma is action and then reaction. It's not inherently negative or positive. What makes it experience negatively or positively is whether the action was aligned with our individual soul blueprint. That's why karma varies from person to person. It's not always about what's good or bad. It's what's aligned personally or not aligned with your soul blueprint. And I'm seeing here that what was aligned with your soul blueprint is speaking your truth, being in this energy of prophecy and not expecting to gain anything from it. It's just how you express your divine gift. And so you had to go out and kind of make your own way and make things work for yourself, like very hands-on. You had to take the bull by the horns in your own life and do this very, I'm getting the word isolated, like you had to do this on your own. You didn't have any support from your family, and you had to heal your relationship to your power is what they're showing me. Growth. I want to expand my consciousness and my awareness. Yeah, so you majorly grew in this lifetime that we're talking about because you refused to submit, is actually what the word that they just gave me. You refused to submit to what was expected of you or what was placed on your shoulders or what was being enforced. That's what it feels like. It was like force being imposed on you, and you were like, no, I need to grow outside of this cage and I need to be free. I'm not going to stay in this confinement within this family lineage or this idea. And it's interesting because it was like these people that you were around, or the family line that you happened to, well, and you didn't happen to, like you were placed in that family line. And there can be reasons for that. You could have chosen it at soul level, or you could have been an energetic match to it, or both. You could have had contracts with these particular souls to fulfill this lesson for yourself, to empower yourself. There's so many different reasons why we incarnate into certain karmic lines. But the whole point of it, though, was to break outside of the confines of what you were being imposed with and personally grow. So the whole outcome of this and going into this life is that you grew significantly and you were no longer willing to submit and to squander. I just heard squander your gifts. You know, you weren't going to do it for I heard the word charlatan, like you were not going to fake it until you made it, or you were not going to fake it so that you could support some family members because they saw something in you that they didn't have, and they tried to like distort it in some way is what I'm seeing. And you were like, no, I'm going to go out and do this my own way, even if it means I need to support myself. Even if it means that I need to do this alone, I'm going to do this alone, and I'm going to find a way. And they didn't agree. Time for a nap. Okay. I was getting this energy from biblical that you worked so hard. Like you had to work physically. They're giving me like to the bone. You worked yourself to the bone. And they're showing me fingers being like really calloused and cut up and bruised. And it's like, so you may have been doing something physically with your hands, and that actually helped you to kind of get away from this energy of, okay, I'm getting another message coming in. This is a little different, but I think it's related. They're giving me gypsy vibes. So like you may have been born into a line of gypsies, and they would use this gift of prophecy to steal from people or to give false prophecy. They just said yes. But you actually did have a gift of prophecy, and you also had a gift of working with your hands and doing something creative. And you really wanted to walk your truth. So you kind of walked away from that that heritage or that way of doing things. And you worked so hard that Spirit is saying, you deserve to take some rest. Like you deserved to have a nap, because energetically you really physically and spiritually worked very hard to overcome this pattern in this previous lifetime that we're tuning into here. Strength, yeah, Mother Wart with strength. It took so much strength for you to say no to the family, to say no to this pattern and this very ingrained way of life, and to walk away from it and to go out on your own and to make your own way in the world. They're showing me the heart here. See the heart in her chest. And I was mentioning the heart here in his jacket. So this could have even been you following your heart, walking your truth when it came to, I'm getting 3 different things. Number 1 was your intuitive abilities. Number 2 was your ability to sustain yourself in the work that you were doing physically. And number 3 was in love. So you may have broken away from the tradition in terms of the type of person that you ended up with or that you married. So I'm getting a lot of different messages. I think that it's because there's many different people in this group. So there's many different lives that we're reading into, but Spirit will give me sort of general themes that will apply to many different people who are drawn to a particular group. But yeah, that's what I'm getting initially. Let's get some tarot. So for group number 1, Spirit, what was this in this past life, this karma that they overcame? What was this pattern? 9 of inspiration, 9 of wands. I just see you walking your own path. That's really, I think the bulk of this karma was that you were born into a family that had very sort of predisposed or pre-designated ways of doing things. And that's how it had been done for generations. And you said, no, that doesn't feel aligned with me, even though there's this pressure or this sense of responsibility or obligation. It's like, no, this does not feel right for me. And they're showing me right now in my mind the movie Elements. I think it's called Elements or Elementals. Elementals, yeah, that's the one. And it's a story about a fire girl and a water boy who come together, and they're from completely different sort of cultural backgrounds. And the fire girl has a lot of sort of heritage or this internalized sense of obligation and responsibility to her father and to the business that he's built on his own back, and he worked so hard to do. And then it's like she has to really face that and overcome it to find what she really wants and what she really desires and what her truth is. And her truth is that she loves this water boy and they want to come together. But so there's something about this. I'm seeing love definitely coming up here in this reading. It's connected to these other things in some way. But it was really the theme I'm getting is that you had to walk your own path. 5 of inspiration, 5 of wands, walking your own path despite all of the pressure to conform, the pressure to do it a certain way, or to be seen in a certain way, or to operate in a certain way. Yeah, they keep showing me these gypsies in caravans traveling all around and putting on like these shows, or doing, what is it called? Yeah, like fortune telling and different acrobatics and stuff. Like they're doing, it's almost like a traveling circus is kind of what it looks like. And there's a lot of like elders in the family. It's not just like your one platonic family, like the father, the mother, brothers and sisters. I'm seeing like aunts, uncles, grandparents, cousins, like everyone traveled together, and it was a very tight-knit community. And there was a lot of, like, you were just ingrained that way. You were raised that way. It was very internalized. And so it took a lot for you to overcome this in this past life, because you really had to see yourself clearly and pay attention and listen to what your heart was calling you to do, which was away and completely removed from this previous way of living, which was like, imagine how scary that would be, being raised in this environment and having that sense of community being so all important and integrous to your survival, really, and then saying, no, I don't agree with this, or I don't align with this, or I want something different, and then going out and doing that alone. It'd be very scary in that day and age. 8 of inspiration, but it was like you could not deny your heart or your passion. It was guiding you in this new direction, and it was almost like you couldn't ignore it, is kind of what it feels like. It was so strong that even when you did try to ignore it, because there was some contesting of your choices, or you were being told no, you still were like, no, but I cannot help but feel this. I cannot help but feel that this is wrong, or I cannot help but feel that this other thing is right. It's like you're so connected to your intuition. And this was a test for you, a test of strength. Are you going to trust your intuition? Are you going to trust what you feel? Are you going to let yourself live softly? I just heard live softly. So it's maybe even like breaking free from karmic patterns around working yourself to the bone, because we did have that come up. And now I'm seeing it in a bit of a different light or different context. It's like, are you going to let yourself rest? I think this is another thing. Wow, there's so many karmic patterns that are coming. It's not just one thing, but it's all connected. So it was like you following your purpose, your passion, your heart, walking in your truth, whatever that happened to look like, and not following along these prescribed pathways that were forged by your ancestors in this lifetime. 6 of emotions. Yeah. Like you really had to face off against some of these deep, deep emotional childhood ideologies. Like you were taught very specific things, and you had to face up against that. And you did this slowly and then all at once is what they're showing me. So it's like, you may have been in like your 20s when this finally started to shift, and you were like, no, I can't do this anymore. But it was brewing for a long time. Like I'm seeing when you turned 11 in that lifetime, you were already starting to question things. You were already starting to feel misalignments with the way that your family and this group of people were doing things. And then by the time you were 16, you were like, okay, this does not feel right for me. I'm being called in a different direction, but I don't know how to do that. And then in the 20s, it was like something finally snapped, the straw that broke the camel's back, something like that. It was like something happened and you were like, I can't do this anymore. This just feels wrong. And no, you may have even been put into like a pickpocket, like some people, because they're showing me a lot of stuff to do with hands. And it's like, you may have, see the hand here. You may have been told to do pickpocketing, and then instead to break this karmic pattern, you had to actually go out and get a job and actually work hard. But that was what broke the pattern. So again, I'm seeing like so many different layers here and different people, different karmic patterns. But a lot of you guys, or all of you, you had to overcome this deep ingrained sense of obligation or way of doing things. It was like breaking with the tradition is really the hardest thing. That was connected to the karma here for all people, whether it was the prophecy thing, whether it was pickpocketing, whether it was hard work and learning to rest. It could have been, any and all of these things. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Emperor. So this was overcoming the expectation from especially the father, and learning or, taking things into your own hands and being able to empower yourself, being able to choose for yourself and then do the work that you felt was aligned with you, or be in the relationship that you felt was aligned with you, or walk this path, whatever it happened to look like, that was more attuned to who you were at soul, who you are at soul level, and what you need and needed in this life. And this helped you to grow big time. Group number 1, it helped you to grow and evolve as a soul. It taught you strength. It taught you to trust your inner intuition, your inner guidance system, like that compass in your heart that points you in the right direction, and you took action on it. That was what broke the karma. If you stayed in those old patterns, that karma would have continued and you would have had to deal with it in some previous lifetime, maybe even this one. But it didn't, and you were able to say, no, thank you. I'm not gonna follow along in this route. I'm going to go my own path. I'm going to forge my own way, no matter what that means for me. Even if it was harder, it was because it felt more aligned. So even if there was harder work involved, it still felt more aligned. And therefore it's easier energetically, if that makes sense. And if you are still seeing these patterns crop up in this lifetime, it doesn't mean that karma is still active. It's just kind of like an echo from the past, and your choices will still be more aligned with the path that you took to break this karma. So don't fret if you see these patterns still present in your life in sort of a tertiary way. That's okay. Or if you still see these patterns or themes sort of around, as long as you're not involved in them directly in that very uncomfortable way of being stuck in the pattern, then yes, you've already broken this pattern. Maybe it's coming back up again for a refresh. That can happen too. Sometimes we clear some karma, or we master a lesson, and then we'll get tested later on down the line. It's like you've already taken the exam for that, but maybe there's a quiz later on, and but you'll pass it easily, because if you mastered the exam, there's no problem in just doing a quick refresh and passing the quiz. So don't worry about it. But I'm seeing, you definitely empowered yourself, and you found and created your own sense of stability through what felt right for you. So that is what I see for you, group number 1. Powerful, powerful karmic clearing that you did in this previous lifetime. Be proud of yourself for mastering this and conquering this lesson, and keep doing that in this lifetime in all of the various ways that you still have room to grow into. I'm sending you guys so much love and support for this karmic mastery in all lifetimes and the soul's evolution of growth. If you guys need any support with that, I do provide mentorship, and in mentorship, the capsule contains any and all of my skills and abilities, which include, of course, tarot and oracle reading, psychic reading, energetic healing, akashic reading. All of these things are my specialties. And if you feel called to me as a mentor, a guide, or a supporter, the link to my website and my services can be found in the description box below this video. Thank you so much for being here, guys, and supporting my work on the channel. I love you, and we will see you in the next reading. Bye. All right, hi, group number 2. Welcome to your reading. You chose the Green Man card. It says Initiative, Fertilization, and Action. It's number 34. I love Green Man. That's like when you see the face in the leaves or in the tree bark or in the forests, that's Green Man saying hello. So let's take a look at your cards. What did you overcome in this past life? Choices. You have the Choices card reversed. You overcame some negative choices. And I'm feeling like nature, and it's to do with your nature or the natural world. 4 and 3 make 7, and then you have 8. So 7, 8. Progression, moving forward, making these choices that were aligned. Okay. We have Angel. It did come up reversed as well. So the light attribute is helping those in need with no expectation of return. The shadow attribute is acting innocent or angelic to mislead others, falsely claiming to be in touch with angelic guidance. Okay, so there were some negative choices in this lifetime that we're looking into here around integrity is kind of what it feels like. Integrity. Food and hunger. Okay. Guilt. I release any beliefs that no longer assist in my soul's growth. Yeah, so there was some guilt here that you had to overcome in this lifetime around getting your needs met, like nature providing for you, and having to do certain things or make certain choices to survive is what they're showing me. It's very survival. So I'm seeing like you stepped out, you took actions in this previous lifetime that we're talking about that created some kind of karma around integrity and feeling guilty because you were taking choices or making choices that were out of integrity. Again, I'm getting like survival energy. So let's see. Truth be told, yeah, lying, stealing, I'm getting this energy of taking, and taking comes from an energy of lack. So in this lifetime, you were in survival mode. You were in this energy of, I don't have enough, and I'm scared, I'm afraid. And so I'm going to do whatever I need to do to survive, just to get by, is what I heard, just to get by. So there may have been a series of choices over a number of years that were very misaligned with your integrity, not actions that you really felt good about. Grace. But the good thing about this is that even though we make these choices, we are never condemned for them. There's no almighty that says this is right and this is wrong. You know, even the saying, only God can judge me. Well, guess what? You are that God. And only you can judge yourself. And when you felt this sense of guilt, you were judging yourself. And that was actually a good thing because it helped you to realize and to bring awareness to what did not feel right for you. Even though it was coming from this place of I have to do it because otherwise I'll die, you managed to find grace for yourself. I'm seeing that you forgave yourself, group number 2. Maybe through understanding, maybe through grace of the angels, maybe you found faith or you renewed your faith or you started making choices that were more aligned. Oh, you got the 8 of inspiration. And the 8 of emotions. I feel 8s are very important here. You've got 8, 8, and 8. And I was seeing 7 and 8 being significant. So it's like moving from one thing to the next. 8s, especially 888, like the code 888 or angel number, is about karma because the 8 is like the vertical lemniscate, which is the infinity sign. And so this is about like cycles of karma above and below, cycling until we find our strength, until we find our power to overcome that recycling nature of karma. And it is through action and understanding that we're able to clear karma. Actually, when I used to work with clients around doing soul realignment work and doing karmic clearing through the Akashic records, I had the 3A method. So it was AAA and no, not AAA like the service that helps to tow your car away. It was A for awareness. We have to gain awareness of these patterns. We have to gain awareness and understand what is going on within the choices, the intention behind the choices, and the energy that results from them. The second A is acceptance. We have to accept through the understanding and the awareness that we're gaining. Otherwise, we can't shift it. If we can't accept it, we can't shift it. And then number 3 is action. So new action, an action that is different than the initial action that created the karma. Because what karma is just action and then momentum that carries that forward. That's why it just continues to cycle. It's like a perpetual motion machine. And if you set something into motion, it will keep going until you redirect that force, until you redirect that energy. And so that energy will then travel on a more aligned path if the action that redirects it is more aligned. So I'm seeing that you started noticing this guilt, you started accepting and understanding it, you did some deep emotional introspection in this lifetime. I'm hearing the word repent, so this may have been a religious life. I am getting that energy. You may have done some things in this lifetime out of desperation. They're actually showing me something like medieval times, and it's like you were a beggar on the streets and you stole and you You lied and you just did whatever you could to get by. And then at some point, something happened, something intervened. I feel like it was an angel, but like an earth angel. Somebody came into your life and was like, hey, you don't have to do it this way. And you could have said, screw you, I'm going to keep doing it this way. But it was like this guilt inside you was telling you this is wrong, and I know this is wrong, and even being in this fear energy is wrong. It wasn't wrong that you needed to survive. It was wrong the way that you were doing it and what you believed about yourself that perpetuated that. And so this person came in and said, hey, look at your choices. Does this feel aligned for you? It's like they gave you grace, and that helped you to see yourself more clearly. So thank God for this earth angel that came in and gave you this mirror to see yourself and your choices in this depth of clarity that allowed you to fully admit to yourself that no, this wasn't the way that you wanted to do it. These actions were not aligned with you, and you didn't want to fertilize those seeds and see them grow because it was a forest of death and fear. And it's like, no, that's not the forest that your soul intended to create coming here. Those are not the seeds that you want to plant and see grow. So you took initiative in a new direction. And I see in this particular lifetime we're talking about, you found faith and you connected to the church. I'm seeing you may have become a monk in that lifetime or joined some kind of a convent. And from that, you were able to quote unquote repent. Now that's not necessary, right? It's not like you had to do it that way, but that was the choice that was made, and it was a different choice, and it was one that was more aligned with your soul in that lifetime. Doesn't mean that religion is always the path to that. It was just in this particular circumstance, that's what worked for you. Ace of Inspiration. New action is what I heard with this card. Yeah, new action. Action, new action. So you took this new action, you started doing things differently, and because of that, you get a different result. That's how karma works. Wow, another 8. Strength. So this obviously, it did take a lot of strength to, first of all, admit these things to yourself, to, second of all, face this guilt, to understand why you took the actions that you did in the way that you did, and not shame yourself for that or let that guilt run your life. The guilt was a symptom that helped you to see things more clearly. It was not there to keep you trapped or forever in this fiery hellscape of judgment. It was really just there as a catalyst to help you see what was and what was not aligned, and then to take a different action or different route to get a different result. Now, I'm seeing that in this lifetime, you did a lot of healing work. You did a lot of rebalancing of your energy. And I'm seeing a lot to do with the root chakra and the crown chakra specifically. A little bit of third eye as well, but I'm seeing a lot of root chakra. You had to heal some very deep survival wounds around literally life and death, like the physical body not having its needs met and dying as a result. It's like you were faced with cold, you were faced with hunger, you were faced with desperation, real true desperation. And so you did whatever you had to do, and then you had to forgive yourself for doing those things. I'm seeing that your eyes were opened in that life. Like the owl's eyes are just standing out so much to me right now. It's like your eyes were opened and you saw yourself in a new light through the eyes of God, is what I just heard. You saw yourself through the eyes of God. You were given this grace, and then it unlocked it within you. And you were able to reconnect to the fertility of life, to the abundance of life, to the abundance of source, is what they said, the abundance of spirit. So it's like by connecting to this Holy Spirit within the self, you were able to cleanse the guilt, purge the fear and the desperation and the survival, and come into this knowing of eternal abundance. And that is a huge, huge shift. Huge shift. To do that in one lifetime is powerful, okay? So some of this may have carried over into this lifetime, but you got the bulk of it. Like you cleaned out the bulk of it in this previous lifetime. And that's why they want to talk about this today. That's why they're bringing you to this information. Group number 2 is because there may still be a little bit of this left, like some scraps or some breadcrumbs from that previous lifetime. You still may face some recurring fears around I just got the word malnourishment, like not being nourished enough, not having enough, not having your needs met, fearing being out on the streets or something like that. Or fearing that you're going to make the wrong decision and then you're going to like hate yourself for it. So if you do notice those patterns, just realize that this is the lifetime that we're talking about. It's coming from that lifetime. But the whole point is that you learned at soul level to reconnect to your faith, to reconnect to the abundance within, to the infinite well, is what they just told me. And they showed me the cups in her hands. It's like the temperance card. So it's like finding the right mixture. It's temperance, like balance. You had to learn balance. You had to learn moderation, because it was like almost not enough and then too much. And it's just like you had to find that harmony. You had to find the balance. And it took a lot of strength. It took a lot of strength to go from this lack energy and then come into this state of, I am good enough. I can do good things. I do deserve good things, but also not going overboard with that. Yeah, it's like this was a big, in this lifetime, I'm seeing that you'll probably actually experience the opposite of this. Like you'll probably experience a lot of wealth and abundance. So if you're not experiencing lack in this lifetime, or even if you have, you will experience more abundance in this lifetime in terms of your needs being met. So maybe in this life, it's more like you have more than enough food, or you have more than enough resources of these types of things. And you have to kind of pull yourself back a little bit. So it's like you're learning at soul level to balance these opposites out. That's what karma is too. It helps us to understand both sides of the coin and then find the middle path, which is always the one that's most aligned with us. It's the one that's not too extreme on either polarity. It's the one that has a little bit of both, because we've integrated both and we've come into that unity consciousness. That's how we grow at soul level. That's how we get out of guilt and we start to really understand these higher truths of the soul. So yeah, I'm being called to talk about this lifetime, group number 2, like not the one that we're talking about from the past life. I'm talking about this incarnation, the version of you that is watching this video right now. They want you to know that in this lifetime, you will be challenged with the opposite spectrum. That's what I was just saying, but they're giving me even more information about it. And they're kind of cautioning you to be aware. I mean, it's not caution in a warning sense, like it's not a bad thing. It's just more like they want you to be aware of what the opposite end of this spectrum was and why some of those old fears may still be there a little bit, even though you overcame this karma in a very, very big way. There still may be some like residual energy from that. And then in this lifetime, you'll be challenged with the opposite, which is like you're going to have a lot. And if you don't have a lot yet, you will. And so you are going to be challenged to remain moderate in how you spend, in how much you eat, in how much you covet, is the word they just gave me. Oh my God, so much religious stuff in this group. It's coming from that past life, because that was what the soul chose to associate with. But yeah, it's like, you're learning lessons about value here, basically. Like if I had to summarize it, you're learning lessons about value, about your own self-value, about your needs physically when it comes to your nourishment, your resources, your money, your food, your shelter, things like very, very root chakra, and how your choices at the physical level reflect moderation or lack thereof. And it's this inner strength to be like, I'm not going to choose that thing even though I want it or I feel like I need it. And instead choosing things that are in alignment with this infinite well of abundance within you. Because those are the seeds you want to plant. They said, give it to God. Yeah, when you give your worries, when you give your fears, when you give your problems to God, even when you give your blessings to God, or you give what you have to God, God will multiply. So if you give your fears to God, He will multiply the faith. If you give your abundance to God, He will multiply that. And so there's something here about like what seeds you plant, those are going to multiply. And I'm actually going to do a reading on multiplying. Spirit gave me that inspiration. I was going to do it today, but I think I'll do it tomorrow instead. We're going to talk more about that theme there. So if you feel called to that reading when it comes out, keep your eyes peeled. But there's something about being able to see these patterns and then choose the right actions. They keep giving me the word moderation. So that's really, I think, the gist of this, group number 2. I'm not going to go on and harp on you about this, because that's not what this is about. There's no guilt, there's no judgment around your actions. You're just learning through the experience of what feels right for you and what doesn't. And the angels, spirit, God is recommending moderation. That is how you master this lesson. That is what helped you in that lifetime, and that is what will help you in this lifetime as well. So having the strength to moderate yourself and choose things that are truly, truly aligned with abundance in the now moment. Every time you do that, you redirect the energy in a positive way. Okay, so that is what I see for you, group number 2. I hope this reading helped and gave you some context for some of the things that you may be seeing in this lifetime, or even just to have some awareness of what you have worked to clear and how you have grown at soul level. So thank you so much to the commenter who gave the inspiration for this reading. I so appreciate that. It was such a fabulous question. Thank you guys for being here on the channel. If you need additional support beyond just these readings, I am a spiritual mentor, and I can support you in the spiritual growth and evolution through that mentorship, which in that container of the mentorship sessions, I do psychic reading, energetic healing, akashic clearing, as well as card readings as well. So it's very all inclusive, and I have many different skills and gifts to be able to support and guide you if that's what you feel called to. So thank you so much for being here, guys. Information to contact me or to book a session is in the description box below. I'm sending you guys so much love and empowerment for the continued growth of your soul. Love you guys, and we'll see you in the next reading. Bye. All right, hi, group number 3. Welcome to your reading. You chose this card, the Shapeshifter, and it says transformation, primal wisdom, and instinct. I'm really intrigued by this particular card, and thank you to the donor who sent this particular deck into us. I absolutely love it. It's so profound. So anyway, group number 3, I feel curious about what this karmic pattern was from this previous lifetime that we're going to be looking at today. This shapeshifter is just very mesmerizing to me. Every time I look at the card, I feel like I'm being drawn in, and it's very amorphous, the energy, which is what shapeshifters are. It's like this amorphous energy that can change shape or change form, but it's like through this internal or soul level transformation. So let's look at your cards. You have Awaken. This card has been coming out so much in many of the different readings lately, and Spirit will always guide me to the decks that I'm meant to use, and the cards will come out that are aligned. So it's like this is a collective energy of awakening. But I'm seeing this previous lifetime. I'm seeing like ego deaths, like you went through massive awakenings. I'm seeing dark nights of the soul, plural, like I would add an S to the end of that because it wasn't just one, it was like multiple layers of awakening. And you significantly shifted throughout that lifetime several times is what they're showing me. So yeah, they keep emphasizing not just once, not just twice, several times you went through these massive awakenings or different states of consciousness expanding, and then your sense of self changed because of that. And so you were seen as kind of like a shapeshifter in the sense that you were not the same person that you once were. It's like people who knew you at this stage of your life didn't know you at this other stage because you might have been in the same body, but you were a completely different person. You dressed differently, you spoke differently, you approached situations differently, your friendships changed. It's like your whole life just continually kept evolving, but in a very drastic way. It was very visible. Yeah, okay, so let's see. Guide, and I was noticing the owl. Sorry, I bumped the cord on for the camera a little bit, but there's the owl sort of mask that she has on here, and then this guide card has the owl here as well. It's like the great horned owl. That's what I just heard in my head, and it's like it's got these horns. Yeah, so it's the great horned owl. Could be something about that as well. But anyways, guide, it says light attribute represents the nature of the divine in life and in yourself. And the shadow attribute is places financial gain and control over imparting spiritual insight. Yeah, no, I'm seeing that this previous lifetime, the karma that you overcame was staying in your shell or like staying as one version of you. So this wasn't necessarily like negative karma that you overcame. It was more like spiritual evolution and the path that those choices and actions would take you on. It was like, are you going to accept that you are changing as an individual and that you are growing? And are you going to follow that inner guidance or that instinct? Because you have this primal wisdom within you from the divine within yourself that is trying to come out. And this great horned owl may have been like a representative of that wisdom in this lifetime. You may have been connected to that. They're giving me the word ancestor. It's like this horned owl was with your ancestor in some way. You were connected to nature. A bird just flew out and landed on a branch outside my window. So yeah, there was something about birds. This could even be like avian consciousness, like avian starseed soul groups that you were connected to, like the Law of One through the Raw group. Seraphim may be connected to this as well, because seraphims are like angels, which are also avian bloodlines. So there's something about like this very, very high level consciousness that you embodied in this lifetime that we're talking about, this previous lifetime, and you were able to continually upscale and up level several times in that life. Wow. Child magical, and it came up in reverse, so that can be some of the shadow attribute. Okay, the light attribute is seeing the potential for sacred beauty in all things, the belief that everything is possible. Now, the shadow attribute is pessimism, depression, and disbelief in miracles, believing that energy and action are not required for growth. Okay, so this was the karma that you had to overcome, was this feeling of apathy. That's the sense I'm getting clairsentiently in my body. It's like apathy, depression, sluggishness, feeling stuck or stagnant. And you had to really go up against that and follow your intuition to grow outside of your comfort zone and to believe that you were powerful and that there was this divine nature within you and within the nature outside of you, the reality outside of you. You had to learn to believe in miracles and to transform yourself to really see those manifest physically. So this was a big life for you that we're talking about here. You really had to move through the darkness. They're showing me the lantern in the guide's hand. It reminds me of the hermit. You know, he holds up the lantern in the dark of night and walks this path alone to find the truth, to understand the divinity within the self. So there's wisdom. There's like deep wisdom that I'm seeing that you're unlocking through this solitary path or through this reconnection to the belief in miracles, to the belief in energy and action aligned through instinct, through wisdom to transform your life. Wow. This was a big life. This was a very big life that we're talking about, very spiritual life. You know, it wasn't a mundane life. This was an extremely powerful spiritual evolutionary point in your consciousness journey. Interesting. We have unrequited love. Oh, they're showing me as a child you experienced unrequited love in this life. And part of the negative or the shadow aspect of the shapeshifter is that you hid yourself, you hid your power, you shapeshifted into something that was lesser than who or what you truly are to get love, is what they're showing me. That's why the shadow aspect of the magical child is there, is because your mother specifically in that lifetime did not love you in the way that you needed and deserved. And so you internalized that, and it kind of, all your power folded in upon you. And it resulted in this hopelessness, this depression or pessimism. I'm not actually getting too much pessimism. It was more like apathy. It was more like just shutting down. It's not like the thought patterns were negative. It's more like you were just kind of shut down to your dreams and to your true potential for a time in this lifetime. And then at some point, there was something that triggered or catalyzed this awakening. You know, it was like this divine intervention that I'm seeing. And this was the catalyst that really shifted you out of this unrequited love. I'm seeing self-love, like you opened up to spirit, you opened up to your divinity, you opened up to this self-love, and this helped you to heal and return to your magical inner child, which is your divine source of power, is what they just said, your divine source of power. So you had to do some like remothering basically in this lifetime. I don't know if that was like the terminology that was available whenever this life was, but that's what you did essentially. You remothered, reparented yourself. You gave yourself unconditional love. You connected to the wisdom within through this divine love that awakened you and helped you to become a more powerful version of yourself. I'm seeing like you went from, it's like you had this divine power innately. Then it was kind of trampled on. And so you like crumpled it up and hid. And then that catalyst of awakening happened and you started to blossom and bloom again, but not all the way. And then there was another one and another one and another one. And you fully opened yourself and spread your wings. They're showing me the wings on her back. Yeah, so the wings can be about this process of enlightenment, awakening, and it's also, like I said, connected to avian energy, angel energy, seraphim energy, raw energy. Yeah. Empathy. I am open to seeing both sides of a situation. I feel like you really opened your heart, which was part of this awakening. You opened your heart and you were able to have empathy for yourself, which allowed this wisdom and this instinct to be re-accessed or reborn within you. Yeah. Oh, wow. Okay, so you have the unfinished symphony card, and this can be about karma that is not done yet. And since we're talking about karma that you cleared from previous lifetimes in this reading, I'm getting the sense that, yes, you did this in this lifetime in multiple sort of steps, but you're still doing this now. They said it's a never-ending process. Yeah, so it's not like you do this level of awakening and incrementally expand only in one lifetime. We do this over every single lifetime. That's the whole point, is like to evolve as a soul and to fully embody our divinity in a human experience. That's the point of coming here. I mean, among other things, but there's something about this lifetime that you are, again, they're showing me the bird, so birds are very significant. Maybe it's a synchronicity, but I'm getting it very, very frequency-wise connected to the avian soul lines. It's like bird beings. So anyway, you are still evolving in this lifetime. You will continue. That's like I said, what we do. But this symphony is a grand one. Like, this is like Mozart's. They're giving me like Mozart's Fifth. Is that something? I don't even know. But I was going to say, like, this is like Beethoven's best symphony. Like, this is a huge thing that you've been creating now for several lifetimes. And the one that we're talking about in this reading was really profound because you managed to up-level your consciousness several times within one particular incarnation, which is, it can be challenging to do. And they're showing me that you're doing something similar in this lifetime. So you've been up-leveling and healing and expanding and awakening in layers and layers and layers. So you're kind of replicating or just continuing what you did in the lifetime we're talking about here in this particular lifetime, like the version of you I'm talking to now. So the more you expand your heart, the more you expand your mind, the more you shift as an individual through your life and follow that inner wisdom and guidance and unlock your magic from within yourself and love yourself unconditionally, the more that you are evolving rapidly at soul level. So you're doing like 10 lifetimes worth of work in one lifetime. You did that in the lifetime previously, and you're doing it in this one too. Breakthrough. That's what I'm talking about. Look at, again, we got birds. The raven. Wow. The raven is like highly psychic, connected to druidry. I'm feeling could be significant here as well. I'm getting archetypes being significant. So maybe that was what helped you to awaken and shapeshift as well, is like tuning into these very archetypal structures of consciousness, which is like very high level. It's like we have this base of who we are. And then there's this vortex connects up to the mental level, and then the emotional level, and then the up and up and up and up and up into the archetypal level, where everything is unmanifest in form, but exists as like an imprint of it. And so you're connecting to very high level archetypal consciousness constructs, group number 3. And this is what is helping you to expand, because you're understanding things from beyond the bounds of your human experience. You're understanding things from this very primal level, this wisdom perspective that gives you these critical breakthroughs in your consciousness, is what they're showing me, because you're not becoming internalized or attached to the experiences your human self has had. You can see them, understand them, hold empathy, see both sides of this equation, but not let it hamper your growth or your sense of self expanding. And that is what allows you to shift and continue to awaken to these new levels of self, is because you're not clinging to these different states of the ego. You're allowing yourself to expand past them while also holding them gently. It's a very, very hard thing to do. So the fact that you did it in this lifetime and you're still doing it now is massive. This means you are a very powerful soul, group number 3, and you are on a trajectory that is destined for enlightenment, is what I just heard. You are on a trajectory that is destined for enlightenment. So you may achieve this in this lifetime. let's get tarot. This is, wow. This is my favorite reading of the three. Definitely. Wow. And I knew there was something significant here, because the shapeshifter card from the very beginning, I was like, this is going to be big. This reading is huge. This journey of this karma evolution is massive. Three of inspiration. That's the Three of Wands. Look at the dominoes. Yeah, it's like you've been setting this in motion for a long time. It's like one domino, then the next, and it's all connected. And it's like you've set this all up for yourself in a very divinely aligned way. The wisdom of your soul is guiding you, is what I heard. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, you're not operating from the human level anymore. You still have an ego, you still have a human perspective, you still have the interaction with that density, but you're not operating from that level anymore. You're seeing the bigger picture. You're having these breakthroughs after breakthroughs after breakthroughs and expanding exponentially. You have the Eight of Emotions. That's the Eight of Cups. I was getting hermit energy from the guide. You may walk this path in a solitary way, so much that it feels a little lonely sometimes. This is the path of the seeker. Doesn't mean that you need to be alone all the time. There are others like you who are out here doing this work. You're not alone. And you're not alone ever, because you're always surrounded by your guides and your ancestors and God, source, creator. Like, there's so much energy that is always available. We are connected to everything. We're all one. So we're never truly alone. We can't be. We're in the soup of creation. We can't be separated from that. But there's something about feeling isolated on this journey that they're bringing up here. And that may actually be residual trauma, actually, was the word that came through. Residual trauma from this unrequited love in this previous lifetime. So they're bringing this to your attention, group number 3, because they want you to understand, Spirit wants you to understand that if you ever feel lonely on this path, first, know that you're never alone. Second, know that you are loved and cherished. Third, know that you are powerful and you can call in the divine connections that will help you to feel less alone physically. And third, know that sometimes this loneliness is required. This isolation, I should say. Let me amend that statement, because it's not so much that the loneliness is required. The isolation periods may be required, because you go through these massive up levels very powerfully, very quickly. So it's kind of like you do have to go into your den or into your burrow, do this massive transformation in the cocoon. I mean, I just kind of crossed metaphors there, but I hope you're following. You're able to go through these massive transformations, and it is a delicate process. It is something that needs to be done in a protected state of being, i.e. in isolation. And then you come out and you're a completely different person, and you're channeling a completely different level of consciousness. You're embodying this different level of consciousness. And as a result, then you're able to go out and reintegrate into the world, but you still may need to face some physical changes in like your friend groups or how you interact with the world. So this is not an easy thing, but it's very fulfilling, because you've got the 10 of Cups here, 10 of emotions. This is like peace, contentment, nirvana, enlightenment, moksha. This is you achieving that over the rainbow feeling of, okay, I did it. I have everything I need. I am that I am. And as a result of that embodiment, the people that are divinely meant to be in your life will be there. So if you are feeling alone, they're really reiterating that in this lifetime, you will see the soul tribe and soul family connections that are truly aligned with this highest state of embodiment that you're achieving. Oh, look at that. And it flipped right down like that. You have the High Priestess. I had a feeling this was going to come out, because when I was pre-shuffling the deck after doing Group 2's reading, I did see the High Priestess when I split the deck to shuffle. So I noted that. This is you leveling up so massively in your consciousness, breaking through these ego barriers, because you are willing to release and massively up-level, expand exponentially your awareness of reality. Like, you are a reality shifter, group number 3. And you may even be a guide for others. You may be a psychic medium or somebody who assists others through the ascension process, or maybe you do very magical manifestation work or something like that. Like, you're very magical, group number 3, and I want to tell you that. You probably already know it, but I'm here as a mirror to reflect that back to you, to show you your highest truth. That's what I do in my guidance. And so you are powerful, okay? Very powerful if you were called to this reading. And I think the only thing that's sort of residual that's left over from this past lifetime that we're talking about here in terms of this karmic clearing is really just that you are still integrating the fullness of your heart, is what I heard. You're still integrating the fullness of your heart and recovering from this previous wound around unrequited love, or not feeling worthy, or not feeling okay to be yourself, and shape-shifting in that negative sense to hide the self, to veil the self, because you were too powerful and people didn't understand you. But in this lifetime, again, through self-compassion, through this reparenting or this inner love that you're working with here, you're able to really break that open and heal it. And that's what it's like, break down to break through. You break it down, you feel it and understand it fully, and then you break through and you keep up leveling over and over and over again until, I think in this lifetime, you will have achieved enlightenment. That's what it feels like. And I really don't say that lightly, because that is a big deal, a very big deal. You will have achieved enlightenment by the end of this lifetime, and you will have fulfilled your soul's purpose on this earth. Holy shit. Whoa, that just like, it's not just words that I'm saying here. Like, I'm feeling this through my entire body. I have truth bumps, you know, like, oh, it's kind of going away now, but I had goosebumps there. So this is a big lifetime for you, group number 3, and so was the previous one. So this is like an ongoing expansion. I heard mission as well. So yeah, this is part of your mission, is to really embody your highest truth and to continue shape-shifting and being this next level of you at every single stage, loving and accepting yourself. Wow. Yeah, so that's what I have for you, group number 3. I hope this reading was enlightening for you, because you are on this path of enlightenment. That is very clear to me here. So I'm sending you all of the highest truth frequencies for you to embody this divine enlightenment path for your greatest and highest good, and the greatest and highest good of all. Thank you so much for being here on the channel, supporting my work. If you need a guide or a mentor to help you do this, this is what I do as well. This is my path too. I feel like I'm in this group. And I do have mentorship sessions available through my website, which is linked in the description box below. It's a container in which we can really get to many different things and needs to address. And I have different tools and skills that I use in those mentorship sessions. So we might pull cards. I might do Reiki energy healing if called. I do psychic readings, channelings, Akashic clearing, things like that. So it's really an all-encompassing container to support you through your own spiritual evolution process. If you feel called to me as a guide, a mentor, or support, again, resources are through my website, linked in the description box below. Thank you guys for being here. I love and appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next reading. Bye.